5 years have passed since the second exploratory dig at Kirkby Hardwick in March 2012. That excavation confirmed that people had lived on the site for over 700 years.
I can tell you it is part of a jug. I can tell you it is a medieval jug that was made in Nottingham. And I can tell you that it was probably made in Nottingham sometime between the early to mid 13th century to the very early 14th century. So, nice bit of dating there.
Thank you very much indeed.
The Kirkby and District Archaeological Group has argued successfully against a proposed sale of the site, but hopes of a full-scale excavation have faded. However, we can't just walk away from Kirkby Hardwick. There's an ancient wall which has been neglected and ill-treated and needs conserving to prevent further deterioration. This is a job for an expert, and we're fortunate that Jason Morden is prepared to take on the challenge. Jason is the Senior Practitioner Historic Buildings at Notts County Council and introduced us to the wall back in 2011.
You can see in the distance by the chimney, just under the chimney, the depth of this wall, which is approaching a metre thick, which is very classically associated with older medieval structures. This stone could be anything really, from the medieval period right through to the 19th century.
As a first step towards repointing the wall, Jason arranges for the undergrowth that has sprung up on site to be cut back. For the work on the wall, Jason needs plenty of assistance, so he arranges a teaching session with bricklaying students at West Notts College, just over the road from Kirkby Hardwick. It's the first day of term, and the students assemble for a unique teaching session. Dennis Hill tells them about the history of Kirkby Hardwick. Then Jason takes over and explains that the wall is made from a rare type of magnesian limestone.
5 of these, 2, 3.
Then the process of making lime mortar gets underway.
Oh, good luck now. Oh, that is pants, isn't it? Sharp and soft sands, yeah? It's important that you notice that the difference between sharp and soft. The easiest thing, blend a bit of sharp and soft. You can get all that from your local merchants, yeah? Let's do 2 of these, let's see. That looks like we've got a bit more soft than we'll have sharp, but that won't matter too much. Blend it. There we go. So, that's it. So in here, talk to you about the lime. This is lime oxide, okay? It's kept in tubs, because if this was left out in the rain, it would start to fizz and go off and cause a fire. Right, when we start pouring this on, Janine's going to be helping with this. We're going to need to let it fizz for a bit, and then we're going to pull the sand up on top. You get the glamorous assistance role. Right, here we go, everyone. Keep pouring, keep pouring. Keep going, keep going. Stand by, guys. Keep going. We're all right. Got it for a bit. There we go. Right, we're going to need to pile the sand up now. Keep it damp. So the water in the sand, you'll see the sand dry out in a minute. See the steam coming off it? See if we can feel any heat. You tell me when it's getting hot. So that's in there's a 300 degrees where you could cook a chicken in there if it was going off long enough, eh? Will it light a what? A fag? Probably not, because it's wet, but it's hot enough to ignite something, yeah. Right, so we're here by this steaming pile of sand. The reason it's steaming is because of the lime inside is slaking right now, and that's producing lots of heat, can get up to about 300 degrees. And the reason we're doing it like this is because most recent research is showing that this is the way that they would have traditionally mixed lime. It's called, we now call it a hot lime mix, but in the old days they would have just mixed lime this way.
Why is this important for Kirkby Hardwick?
Well, it's important that we make sure that we use lime mortar at Kirkby Hardwick, and we think that this is probably the closest match to the type of mortar they would have been using in the 16th century. So that's why lime mortars, what we'll be doing at Kirkby Hardwick is removing some 1960s cement-based pointing, which will be causing problems for the stonework. It is causing problems now and will cause more problems in the future. So we're going to get rid of that, and the gaps that are left behind will be filling with this material. And it's much more vapour permeable and better for the stonework in the long run.
After adding more water and further mixing, the lime mortar is ready to take over the road to Kirkby Hardwick.
The hands ready? Right, as this comes, just let it down slow. Yeah, just ease it down. It's going to pour a bit, but don't worry. Okay, now push. Pull. Stop. You got it? We will be doing it another time. If this goes well, guys, and you want to come back, there's a chance that we could do a little scaffolding lift, and then we could get up to the right height to do the capping. But for the most part, what we're going to be doing today is taking out some of this cement-based mortar, okay? You remember me saying to you earlier about how this isn't great for the stone. What it does is it traps the moisture. The moisture can't get out through that. So any rain that goes in through this lovely porous sandstone, it needs doing because it will help this wall last longer. So it's about stitching time stuff, okay?
Preservation.
Exactly. Conservation, we call it. These are escutcheon chisels, okay? That end there is just a tungsten, and it's good for breaking up escutcheon. It's good for breaking up bricks and things like that, but it's also really good for breaking up cement mortar that you don't want on your joint. We're just simply tapping into the joint through the middle if you want to begin with, just to break it up. So what we're getting rid of is the cement and putting back in its place lime, but we need to get back to a decent depth without damaging the stone as much as possible, and these chisels are really good for the job. So it will take a while, but you'll all be doing a metre stretch. Right, yeah, be careful. Ivy needs to come down. Put the chisel in your pocket until we've got hammers. Good man.
Oh, can I bring me another in tomorrow?
I'm fucking taking the motorbike. Yeah, really all week.
I hope not.
What we would do normally is wet this down a good half an hour before. Yeah, and I'll have the hose tomorrow. We'll have the spray on it, so that'll make it a bit quicker. But here, we will do. When we're getting further along, we're going to want this. You see how this jointing tool will go straight into where you need it to, and quite quick. And we don't need to worry about being too tidy at this point, because what we will do tomorrow, it's hooked, is finish it. Yeah. So what you got to do is get right into the joint. It's a key thing. So there's a bucket full over there. I need some more.
It's a lot better than
Yeah. So that one's pretty loose as well, but we'll try and get away with leaving that. We'd break that out a bit more up there, to be honest. But this bit's all right.
So a start was made and the work continued next day. Dennis and Pam inspect the early achievement, now under protective hessian to keep off the frost. but there's an awful lot of wall still to be worked, some of it needing to be stabilised as well as repointed. Will the resources be available to complete the task? Here's hoping.